Good morning, everyone. This story broke just after I went to bed last night, and I woke up to a bunch of messages and Twitter replies and responses and things like that saying, "Have you seen this? My goodness, what's happening?" So, have you seen this? But first, I want to give you a little bit of context about who Warren Kinsella is and what his history is. He worked on elections of major liberals like Keean. He was considered running for Trudeau in 2015. Here's a Globe and Mail article talking about that. And it says, quote, "Backroom veteran Warren Kinsella mulls bid for Trudeau's Liberals," right? So backroom means he was helping run the campaign. He was maybe a campaign manager, organizing people, organizing media, etc. That's a big job. It's a lot of work. So having that experience and then becoming a candidate yourself is beneficial because you know what needs to get done. So you'll know if your campaign manager is doing it or not. And I mean, that's just a small aspect of this. I'm saying he's experienced and he was considering working with these liberals, with this leader. All right, so that's 2014. Fast forward to yesterday, or the 15th of October 2019, and Warren Kinsella is a columnist, and this is also not new. He's been a columnist for a long time. He worked on Keean's campaign, and Keean was in the 1990s, right? So this is what he does, and he's talking about how he can't vote Liberal on October 21st. And I'm not going to go through this. I just want to show you how far we've fallen in a few short years. 2014, he's going to run for the Trudeau Liberals. 2019, he can't vote Liberal on October 21st. Now, I don't know if this is because he's being paid to write this, like if somebody's saying, we want you to spin it in this way, or if this is his real opinion. This is an opinion piece in the Toronto Sun. So election 2019, why he can't vote Liberal, right? And, well, Here's what the big story last night was. Globe and Mail broke this 8 hours ago. Kinsella firm hired to, quote, seek and destroy Bernier's People's Party. Documents show. So, okay. And I'm going to show you, I'll show you right now. We can talk about it right now. Warren Kinsella worked for Elizabeth May's Green Party in July of this year, right? July 1st to roughly July 30th. And it was a big story. Nobody liked it. Everybody was very concerned about this whole Elizabeth May hiring Warren Kinsella. And Warren Kinsella's got deep liberal ties. And Warren Kinsella was hired by the Conservatives to attack and misrepresent Maxime Bernier's party. Wild, right? Does this sound like three different parties with three different goals? No, it really doesn't. It really doesn't. Here we go. Here's the story. I know I've been teasing it for a while. Let's go. Warren Kinsella and his Daisy Group consulting firm worked on a secret campaign to, quote, seek and destroy the fledgling People's Party of Canada and keep Maxime Bernier out of the national leaders' debates, the Globe and Mail has learned. Quick injection here. Fail. They failed. Failed. Okay, back to the article. Internal Daisy Group records obtained by the Globe show a team of Daisy Group employees work on a plan called Project Cactus that focused on portraying People's Party supporters as racist. My goodness. The records make several references to a, quote, client for the project, including sending a bill for payment, but the client's identity is not revealed in the documents. A source with direct knowledge of the project said the client listed in the document is the Conservative Party of Canada. The Globe is keeping the source's name confidential because they were not authorized to discuss the matter. Neither the Conservative Party nor Mr. Kinsella would confirm or deny that they are or have been working together. Quote, "We do not comment on what vendors or suppliers we may or may not do business with," Conservative spokesperson Simon Jeffries said. The activity appears to have taken place prior to June 30th, when new rules took effect requiring third parties to disclose their political activities. It is legal for parties to hire outside firms to assist with political campaigns. Detailed campaign expenses are not disclosed until after the election. I scroll down a little bit. Mr. Kinsella, a former Liberal advisor who is now a vehement critic of the Liberal leader Justin Trudeau, has previously acknowledged that he worked briefly this year for the Green Party of Canada. However, in a phone interview, he declined to say whether he worked for the Conservative Party this year. When asked about Project Cactus, Mr. Kinsella said his firm does work on anti-racism files. He neither confirmed nor denied that his company worked with the Conservatives to discredit the People's Party. Quote, "We don't talk about client matters," he said. "What I can say, just generally, is Daisy has been involved in anti-racism campaigns for years, most recently against the neo-Nazi newspaper Your Ward News, based here in Toronto, and we've had some success with that. So we've been very active in anti-racism campaigns, but we don't talk about clients." The campaign, according to internal documents, focused on criticizing Mr. Bernier and his supporters online. A Daisy Group document describing the project says Daisy's War Room campaign goals were to place Bernier and the PPC on the defensive and to, quote, work to attempt to ensure that Bernier and the PPC are not included in national leaders' debates. If unsuccessful in blocking his participation, Daisy will work to ensure that Bernier and his party are weakened to the point of being ineffective. Senior Daisy Group employee Rob Gilmore outlined the plan in the document. He noted that Daisy Group's role could meet Election Canada's definition of third-party activity, a move that would require filing of disclosures on its political activities. Daisy will create an arm's-length organization that cannot be linked to the client or any participating organization, he wrote. He later added, if possible, Daisy will work to ensure this campaign is not named as a third party. Mr. Gilmore wrote that the campaign would consist of 3 phases. First, from March to mid-April, Daisy would conduct research for the campaign and hold weekly or bi-weekly calls with the client. Then, in what Mr. Gilmore called the seek and destroy phase, the Daisy Group would launch the campaign. This phase would last from mid-April to June 30th. Finally, the campaign would enter its full steam ahead portion beginning on July 1st and end on a date to be determined. We will push Maxime Bernier and the PPC off their message, forcing them instead to defend instances of hate speech and sympathy for racism, he wrote. It's not clear if this third phase was approved. A Twitter account called StampTogether, Standing Together Against Misogyny and Prejudice, was created in April 2019. Managers of the account would respond favorably to conservative politicians while repeatedly condemning Mr. Bernier and his supporters. For example, Mr. Bernier tweeted on May 2nd that he left the Conservative Party because there was no place for my bold ideas under Scheer's leadership. Remember, he publicly disavowed me after my 6 tweets on radical multiculturalism. You could not have voted for my ideas if I had stayed. The Stamp account responded that day stating, quote, inventing race-based phenomena that doesn't exist is just one more example of how Maxime Bernier is a dangerous racist. Radical multiculturalism is not a real problem. In one post, the group's contacts are listed as Lisa Kinsella and Tom Henheffer of Daisy Group. The Twitter account doesn't appear to have attracted much attention. It had 69 followers as of Friday. The account's criticism of Mr. Bernier ended on June 29th, the day before the new Elections Act rules took effect that require third parties to register with Elections Canada and to disclose their spending and revenue during the pre-campaign period that began June 30th. Internal Daisy Group documents indicate that the firm was well aware of that deadline. Mr. Bernier issued a statement Friday in response to the Globe's story saying he was, quote, astounded and shocked by the attempts to discredit his party. This is an attack on the integrity of our democratic process, he said. And yes, he did. Here's Maxime Bernier's statement on this story, and this is a big story, make no mistake. He says, quote, my statement following the revelation by the Globe and Mail this evening that the Conservative Party paid Warren Kinsella's firm to systemically discredit the People's Party of Canada. It says, I am astounded and shocked to learn that Andrew Scheer and Hamish Marshall paid professional mud throwers to discredit our party. This is an attack on the integrity of our democratic process. We have long suspected that many of the supposed scandals that hit us during the past months were manufactured by opponents. The Globe and Mail story proves that the constant accusations of racism, the suspicious resignations by party executives and candidates, the fake letters and emails, and many other stories were likely arranged by Warren Kinsella for his conservative clients. I left the CPC after I realized it had become morally and intellectually corrupt. Who can now doubt it? And I agree. Here's a CBC article that goes into a little bit, just a few details that were possibly missed in this article. I just thought it was worthwhile. So this is CBC. Links in the description if you want to read the whole thing. It says Kinsella's consulting firm worked to seek and destroy Bernier's PPC party documents. Warren Kinsella's Daisy Group consulting firm was behind a social media campaign to put the People's Party of Canada on the defensive and keep leader Maxime Bernier out of the federal leaders' debate, according to documents provided to CBC News. The documents outline the work done by several employees of Daisy on behalf of an unnamed client. A source with knowledge of the project told CBC News that client was the Conservative Party of Canada. The plan was first reported Friday by the Globe and Mail. According to the source with knowledge of the project who spoke to CBC News on condition they not be named, the objective of the plan, dubbed Project Cactus, was to make the Conservative Party look more attractive to voters by highlighting the PPC candidates' supporters' xenophobic statements on social media. I'm going to pause here. I think what they did what they did really was sharpen people's arguments against the fact that these are racist statements. And I mean, there's nothing racist about any of the policies put forward by the PPC, and the spin pushing racism is just that spin, manufactured and paid for by the Conservative Party. Who's divisive? Who's pushing division in Canada? Who's calling people racist? Who's paying somebody to call people racist? People who are just trying to solve problems. It's frustrating to learn, but it explains quite a lot. Back to the article. The source added that Daisy employed 4 full-time staffers on Project Cactus at one time. Back to me. Can you imagine what a full-time person could do online just looking to discredit somebody? Like, whose full-time job was to just look for stuff to discredit people and then just to go on Twitter. And you can make up accounts on Twitter. You can do whatever you want. You can have a fake account tweet hateful, crazy things and then link it up and say, but I also support the PPC. And then bam, your StampTogether account, and we're going to look at that in a second, or your antihate.ca account, or whatever it is, will start tweeting about this made-up thing that you made up. The tactics are very simple, especially these days. My goodness, back to the article. When asked Friday for comment about his work on the anti-Bernier project, Kinsella issued a short statement. Quote, we don't ever discuss client matters, Kinsella said in an email. We are always proud, however, to be fighting racism and intolerance. Right. Simon Jeffries, a spokesperson for the Conservative Party of Canada, told CBC News, quote, we do not comment on vendors or suppliers we may or may not be using. I think it's really interesting that neither the Conservatives or Kinsella said, no, we didn't do that. They both said, we don't talk about who we use. We don't talk about it. Nope, not going to talk about that. Here's Stamp standing together against misogyny and prejudice, and they've got 77 followers now. Ooh, scary, right? Really, really awesome manufactured trash, because nobody's interested in manufactured trash. Nobody's interested in your garbage. Really, that's what it boils down to. And well, the tweets are exactly what you'd expect, right? And they stopped on June 25th was the last one I saw. I guess there's replies that are later than that, but I mean, this is the kind of garbage that your donations to the Conservative Party of Canada is buying. So have a wander through. Have a look through. Here's Elizabeth Warren, and I already showed that slide. So this whole Kinsella story, I would be frustrated if I was a conservative, because I think that conservatives generally don't want to have the divisive garbage that Trudeau's been pushing, and to find out that, well, Andrew Scheer and his team paid for it, that would tick me off. They used my money. And I mean, I didn't donate to the Conservative Party in the last year because obvious reasons, right? But if I had, I would be super angry about that. I'd be very, very angry. All of my campaign donations have been used directly for just handout material and like that kind of stuff, signs. That's it. And office space. So it's incredible to me. And I mean, I understand how politics works. I get it. I understand that this is part of an ad buy or part of a smear campaign buy or whatever it is. But again, if we want unity in this country, the divisive rhetoric of you're racist about absolutely everything doesn't help. And it would tick me off no end if I found out that my money had been used this way. Really, that's what it boils down to. It's not illegal, and maybe that's a problem. It's not even outside the rules, right? Because when the rules changed, their account stopped posting. So they followed the rules. So that's our democracy. You don't like it? Well, stop donating to parties that participate in it. Simple, I think. Okay, so I'll leave it there. I think it's a big story. I think I don't know if it's going to get a lot of play this weekend. It seems like the media doesn't care. But the Globe did break this story. So they care enough. They care enough to break it. So that's good. The last story for this morning is, remember yesterday when Jagmeet Singh said, he said this, and then I'm going to show you that he doesn't mean this. When somebody shows you who they are, believe them. This is just another minute or two. I know the show's already been long, but this is important. Here's what Jagmeet Singh said yesterday about saying that he doesn't respect conservatives. So this is his apology, but I'm saying it doesn't quite touch his eyes, right?
Oh, sorry. My apologies, Rob. Just before you get, I wanted to say one thing. I said something yesterday that I feel really bad about. I believe that we need to build a country where we welcome everybody, we respect everybody, and I feel bad about what I said. So I want to make it clear that What I meant to say yesterday is that conservatives cut services, and that's hurtful, and that's wrong. But we've got to respect everybody. Difference of opinions are fine. We're going to have difference of opinions. I want to make it clear, my whole campaign, our whole movement has been about making sure people feel welcome, that they feel accepted, and people should be accepted no matter what their political views are.
You know what, my friend? I don't believe you, my friend. Yeah, I just don't believe you, my friend. Here's Jagmeet Singh refusing to answer Keean's question because Keean is conservative. And obviously, Jagmeet Singh doesn't respect conservatives. But he wants you to think that everyone's ideas are welcome. He just thinks that conservatives don't deserve respect.
Elizabeth May told me earlier today, and I think she spoke in the other debate recently, that she wants the Alberta oil sands offline in a decade. What's the date that you want the Alberta oil sands offline?
Sorry, what's your name?
My name's Keean. I'm with RNN.
You're with who?
RNN.
I'm going to pass on the question, my friend.
Okay, so do I get the follow-up then? Or you're just going to pass on the question for...
Yeah, I'm not going to answer
Because
it.
it's a hard one, or...
No, I'm just not going to answer your question.
Okay,
Anyone else
so
can ask it,
the
take it.
follow-up, I guess, would be, how do you have the moral authority to take the Alberta oil sands offline, given Alberta just recently rejected your party in the largest democratic mandate that the province has ever seen?
I'm not going to answer your question, but thanks.
It's a hard one, hey?
Yeah, thanks, man.
I wonder if Jagmeet Singh hired Warren Kinsella as well to find racists. You know, my friend, I'm not going to answer your question, my friend. Thanks, my friend. Is that how you want somebody to disrespect you? By calling you their friend? Right? I would much rather you be very clear about what you think, Jagmeet. The other day when you said that you don't respect conservatives, go with that. That was true. The rest of this garbage is, damage control. Right? Thanks for watching, everybody. These are big stories. I think this is going to affect our election. Election's in 2 days. Wild. The roller coaster is almost done, but there's a couple of corkscrews and maybe a loop to come before we coast into a minority, maybe. We'll see. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's been one heck of a ride. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to vote on Monday, and have a wonderful, wonderful